What's going on, everybody? Anthony Campo here, your coach and host of the Be Battle Ready podcast. And I want to know, are you winning the battle of making an energy shift? The question is, what does it take to build a battle ready business? What does it take to dial in your marketing, sales, fulfillment, and leadership so that you can go to war in the marketplace and win? My name is Anthony Campo, your host and chief coach at Battle Ready Business. This is the Be Battle Ready podcast, Daily Battle Edition. And on a daily basis, we're going to take a deep dive look at what it takes to win in the marketplace. So sit back, relax, and I'll see you on the other side. All right. So, you and I as business owners, we end up going through, it's an emotional experience. It's an emotional roller coaster sometimes. And not every day is sunshine and rainbows of how we feel and how we're doing. Some of the ways you could continue to keep that energy up, keep yourself going, is through your daily habits. Personally, working out, eating good nutrition, meditation, journaling, really being present with your family members, and really expanding your mind when it comes to business. But some days, even though you can do all those things, you can have a day, you can have a part of a day where your energy drops, where your motivation drops, where your inspiration drops. And you can have a choice to keep on going, or you can get through. Some of me in the past, I've taken to caffeine and, listening to other podcasts, to consuming things to ignore the real feelings that I'm feeling. So one of the weapons, one of the tools that I use to make that shift, without sedating through caffeine and food and, ignoring the problem or escaping through education, escaping through starting something new. These are all ways we could avoid what's in front of us. But one of the weapons that I use in this situation is my journal. And the journal is important. See, I started journaling back in 2001. So I had never journaled before that at all, right? And one day I picked up my dad's x-rays and it said a large mass in his chest. And I knew right then that one of my greatest fears were going to come true. See, growing up, I had this fear that I was going to lose my dad, that I wasn't going to get to grow old with my dad, or see my dad grow old and see my kids. That from a young age, I was always afraid. And it was then that I knew somewhere deep down inside me said, go get a journal, right? Go get something to write with. And out of that, I started to write in that journal. I started to express how I was feeling poetically. Yeah, I was a jock. I was an athlete growing up, and somewhere out of nowhere, I wasn't a good student in high school. And, I got better in college, but, somewhere out of me came some poetry. And over the course of the next 6-7 months, as my dad got sicker and sicker, and I had to deal with the pain of that, I used my journal. I used my journal to express how I was feeling. I used my journal as therapy. And after a few years after that, I walked away from it up until a few years ago. A few years ago, I was going through another shift in my journey and in my life. Not one I really wanted to embark upon, but one part of it was I was having a son, and that was a big shock because I didn't ever think I was so on the fence for so long that I didn't know if I was going to have kids or not. And so And then also I was losing my business and starting a job. I never saw myself in a job. And a friend of mine, really grabbed me by the neck and said, I need you. I'm not going to allow this to happen. I'm not going to allow you to spiral. And you're going to start these daily habits. And one of them was really journaling. And it was hard at first. And, it's something that I have continued on, not perfectly every day, but it is something. It is something that I go to when I lose motivation or I think that XYZ is happening. And due to my gifts and my personality, like a journal is critical. And one of the things that I've implemented over the course is that, a letter to myself. And I want you to go and try this after today. I want you to envision, and this is your assignment, and I don't give many assignments for this on this podcast, but I want you to do this today. I want you to take out a piece of paper today, and I want you to write to yourself. Write to yourself as you would write to your own child. And they were trying to start a business. They were trying to run a business. They were trying to fulfill their dreams. And they were having a hard day. And I want you to write them a letter. But it's really to yourself. Because so many times, if we're so much in our head, we could be so critical of ourselves. We could really be really hard on ourselves. And we wouldn't treat ourselves. We wouldn't treat anybody sometimes the way we would treat ourselves. Sometimes we hold ourselves to such a high standard that it's actually at a disadvantage for us. So I want you to write a letter. Just like you would write a letter to your kid or someone that you cared about that was trying to accomplish something. The encouragement. How proud are you of that person? How proud of you, what words of encouragement can you give? What words of advice can you give? Because when we get stuck in our head too much, we don't become our own guru. We don't become our own coach. We don't become our own cheerleader. And some of it has to do with how we are programmed. Not to celebrate ourselves. Not to appreciate ourselves. Not to encourage ourselves. Hell, it's kind of crazy if you talk to yourself, you're crazy. It's an attribute of being crazy. So I want you to do that today. And if you do have that opportunity today to do that, I want you to share that with me. Reach out to me on any of the social media channels that are relatively easy to find and do that. I want to understand your experience. I want to see how you feel afterwards. And this is one of the weapons you can use inside your arsenal so that you could shift. You can make a shift. Doesn't take long. It's not long and drawn out. It doesn't take 45 minutes. It's a quick little note. Quick little letter. 1 page. So I love to hear your experience and what that will give to you. And I look forward to supporting you. And I'll talk to you soon.